Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome to Scones. We're making something for afternoon tea this afternoon. So jump on and say hi, I'll give you a shout out and we'll go through all the ingredients you need. So just come and say hello so I know you're here. Oh, let's see. Come and say hi, good. I can see a lot of you joining us, just checking everything was okay and we're all good to go live. Lovely, lovely. Gonna have nice warm scones this afternoon. How delicious is that? So if you're just joining me, pop on your oven, that's the first thing. So you can pop it on to 200 fan, I think. Let me just check. Yeah. 200 fan or 220, so quite a hot oven. We're not going to bake them for very long. Hi Rose, hi Stefan, hi Ria and Theo. Lovely to see you guys. Hi Evie again. Rabia, you just go online, just here. Hi Marby, hi Alex and Imi and Ewan and Neve, fantastic, and Eden and Theo. We're going to have World War III this afternoon because we're all discussing how we pronounce it. Hi Millie and Devon. Oh, we're definitely going to have a view on that, aren't we? Jasmine, Chloe, Amy, Maya, Georgia, Yvonne, fantastic. And hi William and Edward, you've got spatulas in hand, fantastic. And Esme, you love my hair. I'm going to tie it up in a minute. Remind me if I forget, okay? Thank you. Hannah and Barbara and Ruby. Goodness me. And Faye, Rainey, Carlisle. Oh dear. And Ariadne, of course. And did I send out a recipe? No, I'm putting all the ingredients here. Hi, Henry and Sophie and Pauline and James and everybody. It's jam then cream. Yeah, we're going to get very, very divisive shortly, aren't we? Sophia and Molly are with Cooking With You, Georgina. Lovely. And who was that? Caitlin and Maggie and oh goodness, so many of you. That is lovely. Hi Zane, hi Joanne, hi Sam. Fantastic. So I'm only going to use the word once because I'm not sure whether you are a scone or a scone person. Hi Ben and Sophie. And then we're having a cream then jam or jam then cream debate. So it could get a bit hairy later. Don't worry Claire, Liza can come and join us later. Hi, Eldana and Luam. Fantastic. So nice to see so many of you, Maggie, because I thought a lot of you were going to be back at school. So this is good that we can still all cook together. Hi, James. You don't have any ingredient. Okay, so we'll go through what you need and if you've got any subs. Hi, Claire. Scone and done. Yeah, I agree with you. That was a hello, Gravesend. Hi, Eliza. You're coming on Saturday. Fantastic. And Caden. Okay, good. So if I've missed you, don't worry, I'll come back. So yeah, I'm not, some of you were having real problems with the recipes and I was getting inundated. So I'm going to put all the ingredients that you need every week right at the top in the post. You're making chunky milk and white chocolate ones. Perfect. Hi, Jaden and Safia. Amazing. You can absolutely customize these. We've made cheese scones together. Hi, who have I got there? Miles. Hi, Miles. So I know some of you turned those cheese scones into sweet ones, but this is kind of a sweet recipe and you absolutely can add different things, sultanas, chocolate chips. Somebody this morning said glacé cherries, so you could do glacé cherries. Can you have a shout out Bondon Poncon? Of course you can. Oh, I'm not even going to say the S word. It's going to be the S word now, so I'm not going to say it because I might upset you with how I pronounce it. Can you use plain flour? Absolutely you can. So I'm going to show you. Hi, Stefan. So let me tell you what you're going to need, just so you can get it together. Those of you that got questions about subs, I'm going to go through that as well. Oh, chia jam again. Yeah, chia jam on this would be lovely. So definitely, hopefully, you've got clotted cream or double cream to whip up a bit later to have and some jam, okay? Or I quite like, you can do Nutella. And those of you that are sort of dairy-free, what I do, and you can do it with a dairy-free yogurt as well, is you can mix like Nutella or Biscoff or even jam, anything like that, or compote like the chia jam we made the other day, into some yogurt or creme fraiche or whatever if you're not dairy-free. And then just it becomes like a kind of flavored cream and you can just put that on your scones. So that's really nice too. Hi, Vrivane. Bondon Poncon again. I know, you're making me say all these difficult words today. Hi, Labour. This is the first time. Fantastic. Well, nice to see you. Tyler is a scone and added a sconer. Okay, or scone or scone, I don't know. Okay, we're going to have World War III in your house, aren't we? Before we even start discussing jam and cream or cream and jam. Can you use frozen raspberries instead of raisins? Yes, you can. You can leave them plain. So I'm going to try and do half-half. If you don't have milk, have you got yogurt or something like that? That would be fine too. Okay, I'm not even going to say those words anymore because we're all putting them here. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing properly what you're saying. So let me tell you what you need and we'll go through some subs. So you're going to need some self-raising flour. If you are gluten-free, you can use that, obviously. If you haven't got self-raising, then just use some plain flour and a bit more baking powder. So we're actually going to use some baking powder anyway. It's pronounced biscuit. I'm with you. Rose is American. I'm just going to say biscuit and then I won't get in any trouble. See, it all means different things, you see. Biscuits to us are your cookies. It's too confusing. How many does the mix make? It depends really how big you make it. So kind of 10 to 12. So I might make some different sizes. Sometimes I do the really diddy ones as well. It really depends what you like. Okay. You forgot to buy cream. It's okay. Yeah, yogurt is good. If you've got a nice thick yogurt, that's fine. So maybe do the cream and then jam. So do the yogurt bit first. Or like I said, mix the yogurt in with something quite firm like a Nutella. It's really nice. Try that. Hi, Isla and Laurie. And actually, if you're doing chocolate chips, then the chocolate cream is delicious. So some sort of flour and baking powder. Caster sugar, just a few spoons of that we're going to add in as well. Hi, JD and Isla and Laurie. If you want bits, so if you want things like raisins or chocolate chips or dried fruit, somebody this morning said they were going to do glacé cherries, then you can have those. If you want to leave them plain, it's absolutely fine as well. You're going to need some butter, and I'm going to use cold butter from the fridge. So we're going to do our crumbly fingers again. So we're going to do that. So cold is a bit better, not so hot. And that's what you need. A little bit of vanilla. That's optional. Some of you I know don't have. Don't worry. Won't make any difference. And then some milk. If you haven't got milk and you've got sort of runny yogurt or non-dairy milk, whatever, that's fine. Buttermilk is traditional and you can use that. So I'm going to use a little bit of lemon juice. So one of you asked, is it vital? It's not vital, but it will sour the milk. And I think I've showed you this before. So you can kind of curdle your milk and it just helps make the scones rise a bit more, okay? And then I've got an egg that I'm going to use to brush the tops of mine. So again, if you don't have eggs, it's just decorative. Don't worry about it. Yeah, try the yogurt and Nutella. It's really good, I promise. You have to send me. I usually use unsalted butter, Gemma, but it's up to you. Whatever you have is fine. So salted is also good. Really doesn't make a difference, okay? So that's, I think, all the ingredients. I'm just checking here that I've got everything. Perfect. Now we're going to warm our milk or our liquid. So I've got a little saucepan. If you want to do it in a microwave, just put it in a little bowl. So you're going to need a little pan, scales obviously, and then a nice bowl to do all your crumbling in. Yummy it is. I do like your name. And then, sorry, I've also got a little brush to brush the tops of my scones, but biscuits, and then cutters. Now, if you don't have cutters, just use a glass, or you could use, lots of lids. This kind of thing, for example, you can use that. So you just want some cutters. You do not need a rolling pin. We do not want to flatten them too much. I'm just going to pat them down a bit, and then we're going to cut some out, and a baking tray to pop them on. Oh, here's mine. So I've just got a baking tray to lay them out on. Okay, good. So if we're all done, I'm just going to tie my hair up. Hopefully you have too. Popped on your aprons and wash your hands. And any questions on substitutes before we start, and then we'll be good. And you'll have nice warm scones for tea time. How delicious is that? So one of you was showing me a whole nice cake plate. So maybe another time we'll do a whole afternoon tea, and you could do that. Father's Day is coming up, so that might be something nice to do, or just at the weekend anyway. And you can make a whole plate with some of the recipes that we've done, including today, and the scones. So how much milk? You're going to need, let me bring this over to me. What have I got here? The milk, about 175 millilitres. I just checked. You're ready. Good. So what you want to do is we're going to do the liquid first. So we're just going to warm it up. So I don't want it to be too hot. And then that way, if any of you have overheated it, it will have time to cool down. So you are seeing the video. Hayden said, "Bake." Oh, that's so sweet. So you want to turn your scales on. And because we're going to measure in liquids, we're going to do milliliters. So you might have a little unit button like there, and you just press it until it gets round to, if you can see there, mine, milliliters. And then you're going to pop your saucepan on. Make sure it's on 0. And then we're going to do some, you are super ready, okay. We're having a competition here. I'm ready, I'm super ready, I'm super, super ready. And you are like, you like cooking when you're mad. Oh dear. Is it relaxing? Is that what you mean? Is if you had an argument? So I want to pop in 175. So I'm just going to pour my milk like this. And you can do yours too, or you might have measured it out already. And what's quite good, if you've got a little saucepan like I have, I'll show you. That's 175. It's got a little spout. So if I pour my milk in first and it's completely clean, if I over pour, then I can just pour it back into my bottle, okay? Yes, I did say warm milk, so I'm going to warm this up. Is that okay? So I've just got my milk in here, and I'm just going to put it on my stove and just warm it up on a really low light, just while we want it, like if you put your finger in now, it's really cold because mine's come straight from the fridge, and I just want it to be a little bit warm, not boiling, okay? So not too hot, because it will not be so good. But can you see there's my milk? It's not very exciting. So I'm just going to pop that on and warm that up, so you can do the same. So just pop it on a low light, or like I said, if you've got a microwave and you want to do it that way, you can do it that way too. So let's pop that on. So just a really low light, because we just want it to stay warm while we're cooking our stuff. Good. So if you add yogurt, do you add it now? Yeah, I don't think you really need to heat your yogurt. So what I would do is, thank you for reminding me, is just put it to one side and just let it come to, because I don't want to heat the yogurt and have it separate. It'll be fine, don't worry. I mean, cold is not terrible, but warm is just a bit better. And your yogurt will be slightly sour, so actually you've already got that lifting action as well. So you are one step ahead of us. So if you're all good, you can pop your bowl that we're going to be weighing stuff in, but now we're not doing liquids, we're doing solids. So we want to change that little unit button back to a G for grams. There we go. And if you've ever noticed, because sometimes people say this to me, why does it say minus? Can you see? It's because it was weighing my bowl. So it now thinks I'm missing all of that weight, which was my bowl. So I'm going to pop that back down. 175, Yolande, of milk, 175 millilitres that is. Okay, so that's all we've done. We've just popped a little bit of milk in a pan. Thank you, Gemma, you are right. We'll have to give points out for people paying attention, won't we? So it's just warming up slowly. And then I've got my bowl here. So with this bowl, what you want to do is take your flour. So I'm using self-raising. So that's, if you've got a choice, then use self-raising. If you've only got plain, we'll just add in a bit more baking powder, so don't worry. And you're going to need 350 grams. So it's a fair bit. But these are yummy scones. You will not have a problem eating them. And if you do, then you can freeze them if you think you've made too many. And they're actually very good, because Rose mentioned biscuits. They're very good the next day, kind of cut in half and toasted, a bit like a tea cake. Because what you'll notice with lots of home baking is, unlike stuff in the supermarket that lasts forever, the next day sometimes they're not stale, but they're not as fresh as they were when you made them. And that's because so much food in the supermarkets has loads of preservatives in. So you will notice a bit of a difference, okay? So there's my flour, just in there. And then I'm going to add in a teaspoon of baking powder. So if you've got plain flour, I would add in 2, okay? 350, Helen. So 300, so okay, I'm going to wait. 350 grams of flour and a little teaspoon. 350, Georgina, okay? So I popped all of the ingredients in the top so that you guys can, so you can see a little bit of white, that's my baking powder. So 350 grams of flour and 1 teaspoon of baking powder in your bowl, okay? So you guys can give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Perfect. I'm just going to check my milk and see. So we've got our milk, which was 175. So that actually is perfect. So if you put your finger in it, it should just be nice and warm, a bit like bath water. Doesn't need to be hot, okay? So I'm just going to leave that there, but turn it off, okay? So have a little check on your milk, because we don't want boiling milk, because when we start to bring it together in our hands, I don't want it to be too hot. That's why we're doing that first, okay? Oh, we got a sad face. Why have I got a sad face? You can't make it. You can make it. You can make anything. I know you can do it, Zoe. You can do it. Unless you haven't got the ingredients, of course, in which case you can't make it. But so 350 of flour in here. We'll wait and you can join us. And just a little teaspoon of baking powder. And then I've just got 175 millilitres of my milk, and that's been warming in a pan. So I've just turned mine off. So just check yours so it doesn't get too hot, because if mine's good, yours should be good too. Okay, good. Fantastic. Right. So what we need now is we need our butter. So you're ready? Good. So I've got a little end of the butter. And like when we did crumble and all kinds of things like that, we want to have crumbly fingers. So we want nice small bits of butter. How much baking powder for plain flour? I do 2 spoons, okay, and just make it a bit more. Good. So what you're going to do with this, and I'll just take this out of the way so you can see, is I'm just going to chop down onto my table, so because I don't want it in my hands, nice big slices of butter, cut them into these nice long sort of strips like that, and then into little cubes. And what we're going to do, so I'm just going to cut a bit up so you can see. I'm just doing this here. What have I got? Shout out to Ibrahim. Oh, that's so nice that you love the lessons. Well, it's lovely to have you and all your emojis. So can you see? You can't hear me. Oh, that's strange. I think You can write it in there if you've got any questions that you've missed. So I've just cubed up some of my butter, and you need 85 grams. So what you're going to do is pop your bowl on your scales, and then with the butter that you've chunked up, actually that one's too big, you're just going to drop the butter in little cubes in there until you get to your 85 grams, okay? Is my sound on? Oh, are you having a problem as well? How weird is that? It is on. It is on. It all looks fine. Is it just, give me a little thumbs up if you guys can all hear me. I can switch the Wi-Fi, but it all looks here like it's all going, it is on. Good, okay. All right. Right, so I need a bit more of the butter. Was it 1 teaspoon? Yes, it was 350 grams of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, unless you're using plain flour, in which case do 2. And then and then we're just putting in some butter, 85 grams of butter. Jason, the milk needs to be kind of like lukewarm, sort of bath temperature. So if you put your finger in and it feels warm, that's good. So it shouldn't feel cold like from the fridge. It shouldn't be boiling. So if you see any bubbles, it's too hot. Don't put your finger in, okay? So you can't hear me either. Oh, you can hear me loud and clear. That is really strange. Really strange. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to chop this butter. Let me chop it safely here and get this going. And then I'm just going to double check the Wi-Fi. I might switch to a different Wi-Fi and that might help. But I think most of you look okay. Perfect. So that's 85 of butter. So if I show you, you can hear. All I've done is that I've just cubed it up. Perfect. So I'll wait a minute for you to do that. Good. Yeah, it looks like, I think if you guys can't hear, maybe because I don't want to stop this, just you can turn off and turn back on again, or just check the Wi-Fi connection in home. Everybody should be treated fairly. They should. You're right. You can hear me. Good. Okay. Perfect. Oh, that's fine. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. What temperature for the oven? 200 fan. Yeah, so if you haven't got your oven on already, get your oven on, because we want nice warm scones. Once they're done, we want to get them in there, because that raising effect starts to take place. Oh, good. I'm glad most of you can hear. That's good. You can hear me loud and clear. Can you make pan au chocolat next time? Oh, that's a tricky one to do, because you've got to make, not in the time that we've got. But yes, you've had to put speakers in. That's strange. I can try shouting a bit more, but have you clicked the speaker symbol on the bottom right? That is a good top tip. That's a very good tip, Colin. Thank you. You can hear, okay. All right. I'll have to do it in sign language then, won't I? So I've got my butter and my other bits in here, okay. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my scales away because we don't need those, is we're going to do our crumbly fingers. So remember, we're not going to use this bit of our hand, we're going to use our fingers, and we're going to basically just rub that butter into the flour. So first of all, I'm just going to toss it around a bit like that, so all my butter lumps, can you see, get a bit floury. I'm just going to rub it up and crumble it, basically squishing all of those little bits. Good. Have you put the milk? No, no milk in yet. So we're just doing all the dry stuff. I just wanted you, Georgina, to heat the milk first, in case some of you heat it too much. It's got a bit of time to cool down before we do it. Can I make meringues? I would love to make meringues. That's going to take a long time. We might add that into our club thing. We'll see. So, and you can make really good vegan meringues with aquafaba, which is, we've talked about before, it's the liquid from chickpeas or from any tinned pulses. So can you see it's starting to get a little bit smaller, but I've still got these big lumps. So I'm kind of fishing around for those lumps and I'm squishing them. But you can see the palms of my hands aren't dirty, just my fingers, okay? So normally you need cold butter or cool butter, especially when it's hot, because you don't want to be squishing something that is too squishy. But if you've got really cold butter, it's just going to take a little bit of time. The gas mark, Rabia, I can't double check. I think, so 200 is probably like gas mark 4 or 5. I think possibly 5 actually. It's very rare, I keep forgetting, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to leave you guys out, but it's very rare for people to have gas ovens actually. I don't see them a lot. So I'm sorry, I will try and remember to double check that. Good. So can you see it should get a lot crumblier, and also what you see is that your flour will start to get a bit yellower as the butter melts in. Could you make cheese? Could you add cheese to the scones? Yeah, it's a slightly different recipe to my cheese scones. I would say make these today and then just go and do the other video with the cheese scones. We've already done that. Could we make a souffle? We're all getting into egg separating, aren't we? We did a bit of kind of, I wouldn't say souffle, but egg separating and that kind of stuff when we made our chocolate mousse. So we might do that. We're all going to be fine dining. So you can do it this way as well. Can you see that I'm just sort of rubbing it between my thumb and my finger? So you might, and there you can see there's a big bit of butter that I'm just starting to rub up. So you might like that too. Just going to squish it. And you want to keep going until all of those lumps are out, because it's not a lot of butter in quite a lot of flour. So you'll find that it takes a while to make sure you've got all of those little bits all rubbed in, because we don't want any buttery lumps in our scones, do we? You've got one, good. So it should, like I said, it will look a bit sort of sandy texture, and you guys have done this before with the crumble. You've made cheese scones before, yeah. We've done it all together, and that's on replay too, so you can have that. Okay. So kind of like that, if you can see. And it should be all mixed in. So again, if you've got a glass, but if you give it a bit of a shake, you might see, you just check that it looks all good. Can I remind you of the oven temperature? Yeah, 200 fan or 220 regular, which I think we said. I'm just going to wash my hands and double check. In fact, I can't because I'm on the phone here, but double check the gas mark, which I think is between 4 to 5. It's quite a hot oven. It's a 5. Thank you. Perfect. You asked Alexa. That's a good idea. Alexa knows the answers to everything. Yeah, 200. Exactly. Good, Eve. So it should feel really lovely. And now that you look at it, it does look a little bit yellower, doesn't it, from the butter? So have a little look and see what you think. Okay. Right. Okay. So when you're done, give me a little bit of a thumbs up, and you don't need to wash your hands out. You can do it just like this at the moment. We're going to add some more because we're going to start putting it together with our hands in a second as well. So don't worry too much about dirty hands. Have a little tap and you let it go. So we've basically just rubbed the fat, which is the butter, and the flour together. And we've got some milk that we've just heated up, and it's just a little bit warm that I've got in my saucepan over there. Okay, perfect. Now, what we're going to do, because we obviously want these to be sweet scones, is we're going to add in about 3 tablespoons of sugar, okay? So I'm using caster sugar as normal. If you haven't got caster sugar and you've got granulated sugar or you've got brown sugar, that will do as well. If you've got measuring spoons, you want to use those, but you know I don't normally bother. So just sort of level tablespoons like that. So there's my 1 and 2 and 3, because we don't need them very sweet, do we? Because we might have dried fruit in and we're going to have jam stuff on the top. Can I make a separate video showing how to make marshmallow fondant? I don't really use marshmallow fondant very much, actually. What do you want to use it for cakes and things? Normally I do buttercream, but yes, I guess so. We could do that, possibly. So you've got some sugar in there. Now, if you want to add, if you're adding bits in yours, so if you're adding chocolate chips or dried fruit or something, normally I'd add them in here and mix them around. But not everybody in my family loves sultanas, so I'm going to add them later. Now, the other thing I particularly want to say to those of you doing chocky chips is, if your milk is hot, so you put your finger in, if your milk is very hot, it's going to melt your chocolate chips. So you can do your chocolate chips later when I'm going to do my raisins. Normally you put them in now and then add the milk, but we're going to leave them for a little bit later, okay? So just mix in your sugar, and you can do it by hand or you can do it with a spoon. It really doesn't matter, okay? And then what we're going to do with our milk, can you use the leftover dough from the chia biscuits? Not for this. These, oh, yes, so for doing something else, I've still got mine in the fridge as well. So you can make more jam tarts, or you can make cookies, but not for scones, because these are like more of a cake. They're going to rise, okay? 3 tablespoons, yes, Lizette. And how much sugar? 3 tablespoons, Debbie, okay? So I'm going to pop that there. And then in here, I'm just going to add, oh, I can get a clean hand and open that. So if you've got vanilla, then add vanilla. And actually, this is a tip for those of you that are doing vegan or dairy free. So adding vanilla to some of the stuff just really improves the flavor, okay? So I'm just gonna add a little teaspoon in, like that. We always pour it over the bowl in case we dribble. Oh, I did dribble. And then I'm gonna give a squeeze of lemon juice. Now, I always keep a little bottle of this in the fridge. It's really useful. You can see it tends to separate a bit, so you want to give it a little shake. You've got dates and apricots. You could do that, or you could leave them plain. It's up to you. I'm going to show you the plain bit first. I'm going to add some sultanas to my other one. If you're using dates and apricots, chop them small. You want them kind of this sort of size. So those of you that like apricots, you can buy packets where they are really really in there. Yeah, I would put, so Yvonne, if you're doing the whole thing with raisins, pop the raisins into your dried stuff, okay? So, oh, got a new bottle. I need to open that. So I was just saying, these are quite useful to have in the fridge, okay? Ooh. And we're going to put a little bit in. Now the reason is just a little splash. I'm going to wait and stir it around, and some of us have seen this before. It starts to curdle. So traditionally, scones are made with something called buttermilk, which is where you separate, or where you kind of make, it's like the curd, you know, the rime curds and whey. It's like you get buttermilk as well when you make butter, and you're left with the buttermilk, and it's slightly soured. You can buy it in the supermarket, but it's just this is a really easy way of doing it. So what you'll see, if I tip it a bit, I don't think I'll be able to show you until you take it out, but if I tip it off my spoon, you can see there's already some little bits in there, and that's where it separates, okay? Dried fruit is about 85 grams, but it's up to you really. You'll see it in the dough, and you'll see how much you want. Can you use sultanas? Absolutely. And if you've got dried mixed fruit, anything like that, any bags left over from Christmas cakes and things like that, that's good. You can do chocolate chips, glacé cherries, somebody suggested. You can do whatever you like. You don't need to put anything in either. So which bowl is this in? So I've got my bowl of the dried, which was where we did all our crumbs. So I've got my flour, my sugar, my butter, a bit of baking powder. If you are doing all of yours with raisins and things like that, that's where you put the dried stuff. So put it in there, and again, just mix it around so you kind of can't see your raisins and things, okay? Lemon in water. The lemon's gone in the milk. So I can see now mine is starting to separate. So if it's starting to get little lumps and you think, oh, it doesn't look very nice, that's what you want, okay? Sounds a bit weird, but trust me. So you should have a bowl with your dried stuff. And most of you will have put raisins in there. I'm not putting raisins in now because not everybody in my house likes raisins, but also I want to show those of you doing the chocolate chips that are adding at the bottom. Hi, Belle and Jaden. Lovely to see you guys. So if everybody's good, so you've got your dried stuff, you've got your milk or your yogurt. If you've got yogurt, by the way, guys, you don't need to add any extra lemon. That's absolutely fine. And vanilla, yes. So the vanilla, 1 teaspoon of vanilla into your milk, into your warm milk, and a little splash of lemon juice if you've got it. Have you put the vanilla in the milk? Yes, Sarah, you can do that just now, okay? You put the milk in. Okay, that's fine. You're fine. You're all good. You're all good. And then all you're going to do, I normally make a little well in the middle of mine, just like a little hole. So just kind of push it up, make a wall at the side. If I tip it, you probably won't see it, but you might have a little look there. And then I'm just going to pour in all, how much dried fruit? 85 grams, Helen. I'm just going to pour in all of my milk, and you can see a little bit now. Can you see there's a bit of stuff left over in my saucepan, and that's just where the milk starts to curdle, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to bring it together slowly. Just mix it together till you get a dough. So this is where, if you have it this is why you normally put your dried stuff in first, because it makes it easier for the mixing. But if you've got very hot milk, if you heated your milk a bit too much, you don't want to put your chocolate in because it will start to mush. So if you end up with a brownie dough, which is still just as tasty, then your milk's probably a bit hot. So you can see mine is kind of coming together like this, nicely. Can you see that there? So we just want to keep going. Yours is all lumpy. The milk, that's fine. It's absolutely fine. It's how it's supposed to be. So before mine gets too solid, because I'm going to add in my other bits, I'm going to show you what you can do. Same for the chocolate chips. So that's about half. And you can do this as well. You can tip this onto your table. And you can see I've got some flour left. So I'm going to try and share it out evenly. Scrape it all out. So pop everything you've got in your bowl onto the table. And then we're going to do a bit of kneading. But you'll see, this is why I suggest that if you've got if the milk is too hot, add your bits, especially your melting bits at the end. Yours froze, that's okay. You've got milk and lemon and then a bit of vanilla, Sarah, and then just pour all of the liquids into the bowl with the flour. So I'm going to put raisins on half of mine, if you can see there. So now I'm just going to knead that in so that I'll be able to show you 2 lots. And you just want to gently, can you see what I'm doing? I'm just gently going to roll it and pick it all up. You don't want to over knead it because we'll end up with very dry scones. So yours might have come together in the bowl. Yeah, you can use milk chocolate, and that's why I'm showing you here. So if you've got milk chocolate, add your chocolate in at the end like this, and it will look like this. It will just have chocolate lumps instead of raisin lumps. So I'm just picking up all my raisins. So that's 1. You added a bit too much lemon. Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. The sharpness is good because it really helps it rise. So that's 1 rough, scraggy bit of raisin dough. And then here's my plain dough. So I'm just going to do the same with this, just get all that flour in and get it together. Now, like I said, be gentle with it. I don't want to do too much. I want to make sure that all the flour's up. So like before, we're just going to roll it gently on the table and just make sure we pick up all of the bits. Okay? And if you're doing all of yours like with chocolate chips or raisins or whatever, you're not going to have 2 balls, you're just going to have 1, okay? How much milk? It was 175 milliliters of milk, okay? So I'm going to take all my dirty stuff out of the way so you can see. I shall leave that bowl, we can have that. Perfect. Do you flour? No, you don't need to flour the worktop. Just make sure you scrape everything out of your bowl, because you will have, even on my table, you can't really see because I've got a white table, but you will have a bit of flour and you can just pick that up. It won't be very sticky. If you need a bit of flour, then yes, obviously you can have. So don't worry. Mine was okay just to roll together. Before I add the flour, I always do this. In a minute, I'm going to put some flour on the table when I pat it down and cut it out, because I don't want it to stick there, okay? Do you add the lemon and vanilla to the milk? Yes. So Lizette, in your milk, you need to have a bit of lemon juice if you've got it, and a bit of vanilla if you've got it. And then when that's mixed together, then tip that into the dried stuff and then just bring it together in a dough. And like I've done, you can do it on the table. Now I'm just cleaning my hands here. Scones or scones? I know, it's lovely. So you can see I've got a little bit of icky stuff here. So I'm just going to roll that and pick it all up. So like I said, if you're doing one flavor, you're just going to have 1 big bit of dough. Don't worry about I've got 2. I just showed you this. And those of you that had heated the milk, you should find, like quite hot, you should find that they're now quite cool. So that's why you'd add your chocolate chips in. So guys doing chocolate chips, it should look a bit like this. And that tells you that the temperature of the milk was good, because if it's too hot, you'll find that the chocolate chips start to melt and you get like a brown dough. Don't panic, it will still taste just as lovely. Just a little lesson. Is mummy doing this in the kitchen? You heard some rattling. Oh, okay, that's a nice thing. So give me a thumbs up when you've got your dough together, whatever, with any bits if you want bits. And then just like one of you asked, I'm going to put a small bit of flour on my table, but like really small. You don't need a lot, okay? And just give it a little wipe around so that I've got a nice floury surface to work on, okay? You messed up. Oh, why did you mess up? Was that why you asked about the milk again? I thought you'd done it. What did you mess up with, Lizette? Because you'd probably be able to come back and save it. Don't panic. Don't panic. Your milk went lumpy. That's fine. It's supposed to go lumpy. Don't worry. The acid of the lemon juice kind of curdles the milk, so don't worry. If you put loads in, you'll have bigger clumps. It's fine. So unless you've like redone it, chuck it all in. It's not a problem. If you saw mine, I haven't got very much, but you'll see I've got a few little bits left in my saucepan. That's the same thing. Really, it's not a problem. Okay, good. So when you're done, and I want you to watch this first, you don't need to use a rolling pin for scones, okay? Because I know some of you did for the cheese scones, but same thing, you really don't. And you want to be as gentle as possible. So all you're going to do, and I'll show you in my hand, you really literally just need to pat it out gently like that until it's a few centimeters thick. I'm just going to do this here because we want nice high scones, so we don't want them really, really fine, okay? So kind of that sort of thing. And then using your cutter, and whoever was asking how many of these do you make, it depends on the size of the cutter. Now I find for scones that this round side is easier than the fluted side, but it's up to you. And traditional way of making scones is you press down and you lift up, you don't twist. That's what you're supposed to do so that they rise evenly. So you go right to the end as far as you can, you push down, press, and if they come up like that, great, because there's one, and I'm just going to put that on my baking tray. If they don't, let's see if this one doesn't. Yeah, so it gets stuck. So just leave it there, do the next one. You added the liquid straight to the stuff. That's okay, that's all right. So if they don't come up, just leave them and then just pull away all of the rest of the stuff. So there are my raisin ones, can you see? So these are quite big scones. So I'm just going to put those straight on my baking tray. And then with the leftover stuff, again, gently, you can just squish it together and then do that again. Now you don't want to do it too many times because otherwise you get this real cracking. So if you've got a little bit of leftover, you can do it like this, like just like before, squash it and then use your hands and just shape it into one scone. So I know it's not perfect, but that would do for me, okay? So just like that. So I've got 4 out of that one, but those are quite big. I'm going to show you some smaller ones. So same thing again, I've just got 2, but it doesn't matter, just going to give it a gentle pat. So you really don't need a rolling pin, don't need very much flour either, do you? And then just start cutting again. So push down and pull up, and if they don't come out, don't worry, keep going round. Oh, let's see, that one came up, that's perfect. And you can keep going round, get as many as you can out of the first lot. I normally do these ones or even smaller actually, I do, but up to you. You'll definitely have enough for your family for tea, and they're better fresh anyway, so, right. And then I've got a little bit of leftovers. I'm gonna pat that down again. I'm not sure I'll get 2 out of that, we'll see. Maybe. So never use, so that's one of mine, but then I always use the leftovers, even if it's a small one. So I'm just gonna squish that again, pat it down, and then do what I showed you before, just shape it with my hands. It won't be the prettiest scone, but it will still taste just as yummy, okay? Because I don't wanna waste anything. So I've got 6 babies and 4 big ones, can you see there? But they're all quite decent size, and you wanna give them a little bit of space between each one because they will puff up a bit, all right? So I'm just gonna clean this here while you guys do that. And remember my little top tip about the table. So we just always kind of scrape it away. And if you've got a dustpan and brush it up before you take a cloth to it, because it's going to be, if I show you this, you've got so much flour on your table like that. If I just put water to that, I'd end up with something yucky. So that goes straight in the bin before we carry on. Perfect. Good. So these are mine. I'm just going to leave these here so you can see. All right. And don't keep, it's really tempting to keep patting the leftovers down and down and down so you end up with like a biscuit. Don't, okay? You don't want them too flat. All right? So, I might even have done mine a little bit flat. Normally I make them a bit thicker, but, so let's see. So they all look good. And if you've got any raisins that are falling out, just like I'm doing there, just squish them back in, okay? So I think that's nice for tea. Lovely. All right, so when you guys are done, you can give me a thumbs up and we'll see how many you make. So I think these are probably good size. These are probably normal scone size. So 4, so maybe I would have made like 6 decent scones. I think I put 10 to 12, which it would have done if I'd done the smaller one. So that's 6. I probably would have done about 10 of those. Good, okay. So if you've got an egg and you want to use an egg, that's what I'm going to do to brush the top. If you don't have an egg, or you're allergic to egg, or you don't want to use it, the dough feels spongy, that's fine, it's perfect. It should be nice and light. You don't want to squish it too much. If you don't want to brush it, you can leave it. If you want to brush it with something but you don't have an egg or want to use an egg, then just take a bit of milk and you can do just what I'm going to do. How thick? I did them a few centimeters, so I don't know, I'm not very good at that usually, like 3 or 4 centimeters, something like that. Maybe that's a bit less actually. But they don't need to be too thin. They should puff up a lot. And don't need to line the tray. The oven should be on 200 fan or 220, or I think we worked out gas mark 5. So you made big ones and 1 left over. Okay, that's good. That's fine. That's perfect. They're really nice fresh. And you will see, so sometimes the really big ones, and if you made them really thick, they'll take a bit longer to bake. So I'm going to show you how you know. Okay, you've got 12 raisin ones and 12 plain ones and 1 baby one. Oh, that's a lot. You're like a factory. Maybe you made small ones or double. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my egg, but like I said, you don't need to do the egg. It's just going to give it a really nice glaze and a shine on the top. If you've got milk or something, you could use that. And sometimes what I do, like if you've got leftover in there, you can just take your brush and just brush out what's in the saucepan. Don't waste it and use that on the top, okay? So I'm just going to tap my egg. Oh, noisy. In there, so it's another bit of good egg separating practice for us. And then with my brush, which is hiding there, I don't even need a spoon or anything. I'm just going to mix it up with my brush until I get it nice and mixed together. And that's what I'm going to use too. How long in the oven? I've written here about kind of 10 to 12 minutes until basically they're nice and golden. So they should rise really well. They'll be nice and golden on the top. And then when you take them off, oh, baker's dozen, I love that. When you take them off and you kind of look at the bottom, it should be nice and dry and slightly hollow. When you tap it, it'll be nice and brown on the bottom, okay? So I've got my nice egg mixed up. And again, if you were baking something else and you had some leftover egg, then just use that. And all I'm going to do is just brush the tops really gently. Not the sides, just the tops, okay? And this will just give that nice golden glow. It doesn't make any difference to the flavour. This is purely presentation. So if you don't want to do it, you don't need to. If you want to brush it with something, like I said, just brush it with a bit of egg, with a bit of milk or a bit of yogurt. So those of you doing yogurt, you could do it as well. You've got 14. You've used the love heart. That's really nice. I'd love to see that when it comes out, William. We'll see how nicely it bakes. Now the ones that are a bit scraggy, craggy, like my not so pretty ones, my ends, will be, you know, won't look as pretty, don't worry. So still keep brushing them. They might crack a bit on top, and that's why you want to try and get as many out the first time. So actually, those of you that did one lot of dough will be easier because you'll be able to get more out the first lot. Doing it in 2 halves is always a bit trickier, but I wanted to show you the difference. So you can see that looks nice. So we just have a little brush, and then they're going to go into the oven. Now, because I haven't got very much flour, I didn't do a blue pita. Here's one I've got earlier, so I'll have to show you the photo later when we're eating it. You managed it, fantastic. You guys done really well, so you did make about 10, which was what I said. This one's quite big, and they will puff up in the oven, so you will find it, you know, they look big, but I don't think anybody's going to have a problem eating them, are they? And I want to know all the stories about what you're eating yours with. You've got some egg left. So if you've got leftover egg, you can either keep it to brush something, not for ages. You could use it, again, if you're baking, you could add, we've used so little, you could add it into a cake mix, or you could just fry it off as a little bit of scrambled egg as well. So it really doesn't matter. But that's why I say to you, I like them with egg, but a lot of people think that using the egg is a little bit wasteful, so you don't need to, okay? So they should look like that. Can you see? Hopefully you can see there, they're all nice. I'll show you that one, you might see there a bit better. They're all nice and yellow from the egg. And then I'm going to pop these into the oven. You've used a star. Okay, that'd be interesting. So usually use the round, like I said to you, if you use the round bit rather than the fluted bit, it's easier sometimes to get the shapes out and they rise a bit more evenly. But see how you go. I'd love to see it. And we've definitely done shapes in the past. So they need to go in for about 10 to 12 minutes until they're nice and golden and risen. Hopefully most of yours are the same size. So if you've done really big ones and really small ones, mine you can see are the same thickness, which is the important bit. But if they're different thicknesses, you will find that some cook a bit quicker than others, okay? So 10 to 12 minutes until they're nice and golden and risen. Also, if you want to have them a little bit later, if you're going to eat them now, obviously great. If you want, you've got 10 large ones, lucky you. If you want to have them a bit later, just don't bake them quite so long until they're golden, but not like super brown. And then just put them back in the oven to warm up. And then obviously you need to cut them in half. So normally you cut them, you know, where they kind of start to rise. You should see that they sort of split in the middle. And then you can have the debate and let me know, is it jam first and then cream, or cream first and then jam? So that's up to you. And like I said, if you don't have, if you've got clotted cream, use it. If you've got double cream, and I have, just whip it up lightly. I'm going to do that a bit later. And if you don't have, then you could use yogurt, like a Greek yogurt is really nice, just a little bit. You can either keep it as it is or do what I said and just mix it in with some jam, like the chia jam would be delicious, or chocolate spread like Nutella, that kind of stuff, Biscoff. And so you've kind of got a flavored cream, and then just put that on the top of your scone, and that works really well too. Especially for you guys that were doing chocolate chips, try my chocolate cream trick. You'll really, really like it. So I hope you've enjoyed. It was lovely seeing what you all did. I'd love to see what bits you put in yours, glacé cherries and cream then jam. Zane is, yeah, I know. It very much depends where you are, so you have to tell me where you are as well. I think any of our friends that are joining us, especially on replay from overseas, won't understand why we're getting our knickers in a twist about this, will they? And we don't know if we can say scone or scone. So it's all very confusing. So pop these in the oven in about 10 minutes or so, 10 to 15 minutes, which will give you enough time to tidy up. Remember to tidy up. You are going to have delicious warm scones. So send me a picture before you gobble all of those. Put them on a nice little cake stand if you want to do that. You're having a yummy tea time, especially for those of you that are joining now. If you're coming on replay and you've just come back from school, then that's nice. You've put them up, you've already put them in the oven. Perfect, exactly. I'm not going to engage in the jam and cream debate because I'll get in trouble. Good, I'm glad you guys enjoyed. You're making a pie tomorrow. Brilliant, Yolanda, okay. So pop these in the oven. I will share a photo of mine, so share your photos later. I'm going to close out the fair share stuff this week, so if you've enjoyed the class and you want to contribute, please do. It's in the pinned post right at the top. Oh, you are very welcome, Laura, William and Edward. I'm glad you enjoyed. I hope you've got enough scones to all of you eat. And like I said, if you have them tomorrow and you want to have them for breakfast, then just cut them in half and toast them, okay? They'll be delicious as well. You're crossing your fingers you've got it all right. You did. I know you got it right. You can't go wrong with my recipes, I promise. Good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed. Thank you, Julia. So have a wonderful afternoon eating your scones. How long in the oven? Just 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes until they're golden, depending on how big yours are. You're very welcome, Hayley and Rabia. You are very welcome. So send me your photos. Let me know how you get on if you enjoy them. And I will see you guys very soon. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye.